Good afternoon, John Kilroy here from Dublin Academy of Education. You will need these notes in front of you if we're going to have a look today at world religions, okay? A topic we've been studying in the class. What I've done for first part, I want to look through what might come up, which is everybody is interested in, okay? And also types of come up. And then we're going to have a look at Buddhism, okay? So we'll start off and looking at these. If we divide the topic into different questions. So, for example, our ancient religions, this reflects the other parts of the course. So, for example, in the search for meaning and values, we got the ancient. This is the ancient religions part, okay? So you can see, and I think what they do is, if they ask ancient religions here, they won't ask it in section A. And if they ask it in section A, they won't ask it here. And if we look at the dates here, 2019, 2018, we all expected this last year and we got it, which was nice. We expected that the year before, we got it. We actually expected these two to come together, but they didn't, because they're increasingly splitting the questions among A's and B's. You know how technical it can be, right? So we've looked at them. Primal religions, sacred and profane. Now you can cover them and do essays on them and things like that. I don't know if they're likely to come up, and remember there's no choice in this section of the exam. So if I just go down a bit and look at the 5 major world religions, this is what I would call the second part of the world religion section of the course. And we have Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, the big 5 as they call them. And we can group them into families, if you like, if I could say that. Judaism, the parent religion of both Christianity and Islam, and Hinduism, the parent religion of Buddhism. You'll never get asked to compare all 5 of them. What you will get asked is maybe a comparison between Christianity and Judaism. And then this part B question might be Christianity with one of the others. Okay? So that can be quite confusing, and as we've discussed many times in class, that religion can be like that, a bit of a riddle. Religion is a bit of a riddle anyhow, so why wouldn't the questions be a bit of a riddle too? So what sort of things do we have coming up? Well, this idea of God, the transcendent, and the image of God and divine is a type of question that can come up either in this world religions, or it can come up in the search for meaning and values section A. So it could be what we call crossover question, which we're looking for, right? Okay. We're particularly looking for crossover questions between world religions and the search for meaning and values. That seems where it happens most. This would be lovely if we got the rites of passage, okay? And it would be maybe choose 2 rites of passage and compare them in 2 religions. We'll have a look at the type of question. As you see, 2012, 2013. It's a long time ago now, okay? And this question here, well, everybody, there'd be no complaints, wouldn't there? Visions of salvation. What does the religion offer you in terms of salvation, okay? Religion is about the soul and the spirit, okay? And of course, it wouldn't be much of a religion if it didn't believe in the soul or the spirit, because the soul and the spirit transcends the body, goes beyond the body, and after we die, the soul is immortal, if you like. That Socratic idea that we studied when we looked at philosophy in ancient Greece, this idea of the soul and the body, being even nearly separate entities, but the same. You see what I mean about the riddles in religion. So visions of salvation, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, they all offer us different things, don't they? Well, the community of believers. Now, this question is the idea of how the community is formed, how the community comes together, where they worship. For example, in Islam, Friday, okay, is the day of worship. In Judaism, Saturday is the day of worship. In Christianity, Sunday is the day of worship. You wonder how they do it in order to be different with each other, or, you know, but they have this day of worship, this Sabbath, this day where God rested after creating everything. You see, and you can see their commonality there, can't you, between the three of them, you know, and how they're linked. And of course, you've got this Hinduism and Buddhism, which doesn't have a day of worship as such. It's a lifestyle. And so we have a difference, the East-West division here between the Hinduism, Buddhism, and the other three, and how the community then establishes itself. Holy places, some of them are absolutely terrific buildings, I must say, you know. Students of architecture should also be students of religion, really, shouldn't they? Religious festivals. Now, of course, the festivals that they give us, the great festivals of Christmas and Easter and Eid and the Festival of Colours and all these different festivals. Often there's a lot of commonality there between the five religions as well, because they all originated at a time when agriculture was the economic and social system within the world, and they often reflect seasons of the year. So what are the main principal seasons within agriculture? Obviously spring, summer, autumn and winter, but it's also when you plant crops. And for example, in Ireland, they say that the first day of spring is the 1st of February, St. Bridget's Day, when people went out and started tilling the ground and preparing the ground for putting the crops in. Okay, St. Patrick's Day, there's an old saying in the countryside, don't put your spuds down until St. Patrick's Day, because the frost will get them. Okay, and all these sorts of things. So everything is agriculturally based. The festivals of Lunasa, the ancient festivals, the festivals of Samhain, this light and dark festival, you know, where the darkness, the days become longer, the nights become longer than the days, the ancient idea of the triumph over night, over day, all of these sort of things. They give us our modern religious festivals that we have now, which are carried out in great numbers. And they're great things, of course. And they give us holidays around them, which is always nice. So a celebration tradition linked in with religious festivals, this celebration tradition, this idea of celebration, religion being a celebration, okay? Rather than being some sort of task, this idea of being, there's celebratory points too. And true denial, there's reward, okay? So, for example, in Islam, we have Ramadan. And at the end of Ramadan, we have the great feast. In Christianity, we have Easter, 7 weeks of Lent beforehand, and then the great celebration of Easter. So this idea of this worldwide distribution of members is becoming more difficult as time goes on with our current globalization, the movement of people around the world, and the movement of cultures. This has really accelerated in the last 40 years. I have to say, it is amazing. Okay, so we have lots of religious groups here in the city that we live. Right, we have evidence of all five religions in the city that we live, and groups and community groups. Okay, and this, of course, has an effect on the society we live in. Right, for example, lots of people are rejecting organized religion today. They're saying, "Oh, well, I was born Catholic, but I'm not a Catholic anymore. But I am spiritual." They're saying. Okay. Now, of course, religion has to do with the spirit, but they're rejecting organized religion in a lot of cases because of the rise of individualism in society. So now we can pick a bit of Buddhism, pick a bit of Hinduism. It's like you design your own religion on an individual basis. And I think that people are this rise in what we call spirituality. For the religious people, I don't think they're worried about that, so long as people are concerned with the spirit and the soul, right? Rather than just material things in society. All right, so worldwide distribution of members, of course, we have our strongholds. Western Europe, the stronghold of Christianity. North America, the stronghold of Christianity. North Africa and the Middle East, the stronghold of Islam. Judaism, we'll talk about separately because it needs to be talked about separately in that respect, because Judaism, unlike the other four, is not a missionary religion. It's not in the business of getting new members. Hinduism, India. And we have, of course, Buddhism, Thailand, China, India, okay, and increasingly in the West. Organization, local, so that's 2015, so it's again worth looking at, isn't it? And organization at local level, modern organization, that's how the religion is organized, if it's a structure or not. And challenges to religion. I think this one might be one that we could have a look at as well. very closely, the challenges of modern society to religions. All religions are under threat from the secularization of modern society, right? I suppose this is an ongoing thing for religions. It's interesting how people in Ireland are looking at this now, and of course, how religious people look at it. That's interesting. Other religions is an important topic as well. This is a great topic as well because we look a little bit at the African religions. We look at the Chinese religion. China's great. It's very, very interesting. It's a real riddle itself. Of course, we've all heard of Chinese riddles. And we look at a bit at Sikhism. And that'll be it. That's the areas of religion that we should be focused on. We're going to look also at the type of questions that come up. So if we go backwards, 2019, okay, and we see it's a 20-mark question, and a 20-mark question is 2 paragraphs at 10 lines each. 2 paragraphs at 10 lines each, which makes a 40-mark question, 4 paragraphs at 10 lines each, okay? So your timing for these questions, of course, as you know, 80 marks, 37.5 minutes. So that's about 18 minutes. 18 and a half minutes per question. Okay, so if you're looking at this 18 and a half minutes, you're looking at a page and a half to 2 pages. Okay, don't go over that because you get caught for time somewhere else, right? Choose one world religion from list A and one world religion from list B. Christianity, Judaism, you see what I mean by that, the way it works? Buddhism, Hinduism, and Islam. Compare the role being part of the community plays in the lives of believers within the world religions that you have chosen above. 2 paragraphs on list A, 2 paragraphs on list B, making your comparisons. That's your answer, okay? And your structure should be introduction, 2 lines, paragraphs, 10, 10, 10, 10. Keep them nice structure on it, so the marker can see point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4. They can see that you've given equal length to point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, equal detail, and of course supporting material into those, and then a little conclusion for 1 line if you want to be polite, okay? And of course, these ones, 20 marks. So that was the primary religion, and that was the one world religion. So if we go back, as we go back, we're looking at the questions, I suppose, more likely to come up. And we can see here, look, they have it again. Christianity and Judaism. Look, did they have that in 2019? They did indeed. They had the same thing. And then Buddhism, Hinduism, and Islam, okay? Any denomination within Christianity, because you've got all those different denominations. Outline the understanding of salvation, liberation found in the teaching of one of the following world religions. Compare the understanding of salvation, liberation found in either Christianity or Judaism with that found in one of the following world religions. And this seems to be the standard type of question for the A and the B. And look, again, it's a 20 and a 20. And then we have a 40. Sacred and profane. Now, you must get used to answering these 20 marks and 40 marks questions. And that's what you did in your mock exams, where you were answering a 20-mark question, a 40-mark question. So when you're making your plan, and of course, you should always make a plan, then you should be focused on those particular things. And again, if we go back and look at these questions here, 2017 and 2016, 2017, we're going backwards now, remember. A, oh look, it's 2 40-mark questions. I like that. I prefer that myself, but I'm not doing the exam, so it doesn't matter. Profile the origins and implications of relations between Christianity and Judaism. They're a celebration tradition or community of believers. So celebration tradition is like kind of like festivals, right? Festivals. So the obvious one is Passover and Easter, isn't it? Okay? Because when Christ was celebrating the Last Supper, what festival was he celebrating? Only the Passover. Well, Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, Judaism, examine the main forms and purpose of interfaith dialogue between the 2 world religions, between 2 of the world religions. So they're 2 totally different areas that are being asked, okay? And again in 2016, the world religion, compare how religious ceremony, it's kind of similar to that question, isn't it? Okay, I'll explain how authority is structured for the community of believers in 2 of the following world religions, and authority is structured. That's a hard question. That's a real sort of, I've learned that quite well, so I can just repeat it in the answer. Okay, it's not. It's not. When I say it's a hard question, it's not difficult. It's not the most, how would you say it, engaging of topics. All right. 2015, worldwide distribution of members. Do the question. Do the question. Have it prepared. Okay. Origins. Okay, so they mixed this. That was only 20 marks. So that's a 9-minute answer. Yep. Okay, and this one here, 9-minute answer. The origins of wonderful. We haven't done that topic yet. So, an interfaith dialogue, we haven't done that topic yet. Don't worry about those ones that you haven't done. Do the ones that you can do, and of course, how it's organised. That was a tricky old question there, because Judaism and Islam, how it's organised, that caught a few people out. And the nature relationship with Christianity and Judaism, a celebration of tradition, and a vision of salvation. Remember, the examiner will catch you out, because their job is to separate out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. They have to grade you, okay, through exam paper. So they will put in little tricks there. And of course, the best prepared people are the ones that are going to do the best. And that's the way it should be. All right then, 2013. One from list A, one from list B. Christianity and Judaism. They seem to like that pairing, don't they? There's a pattern there. Examine the similarity and differences. Similarity and differences. 2 similarities, 2 differences. The way in which the transcendent God is understood in the world religions that you've studied from list A and list B above. Okay? And explain how a connection between the sacred and profane may be found in 2 of the following features. Here's this primal religions, which came up again in 2019. Right? This didn't come up in 2019, so yeah. And then we have this one here. Rights of birth, initiation. So they picked a specific right there. The rights of birth, coming of age, marriage, and death. The weakest of the 4 is marriage, of course, because not everybody gets married. But you all come of age, you're all born, and you all die, unfortunately. So that's the way it is. Okay, that's a nice question. So we'll have a look at that. You should be preparing that, and of course you haven't done that topic yet. So 2011 to 2010. We all go back as far as 2010. Compare the way in which members are organised at a local level. Christianity and Judaism. Again, they pair these two. Okay. Life in Ireland today can present challenges to world religions. It sure can. Discuss the accuracy of the statement in relation to following world religions: Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, and Judaism. So you post the challenges. Now, you want to hear the challenges to the religion as the religion sees it, not what you think. Not what you think the challenges are. So if you write down something, well, people aren't going to mass, you need facts and figures to back that up. Okay? And for there you need to go to the CSO website and look at things and quantify what you're saying by supporting material. There's no point in coming out with general sort of sayings as such as that. Okay? I think that question could be a good one to prepare as well for the exam. That looks like a kind of likely. Okay? Interfaith dialogue again, and the results of the 26 Irish census show that members of a variety of different groups are living in Ireland. Compare the range of different that live in Ireland today with the range of relations. That's the worldwide distribution of religions. Okay, in a rather convoluted way of asking the question, and it's an important question as well. Okay, so we'll actually look at one more. Okay, we'll go back up here and look at one more. And we're looking at 2009, 2008. The questions are beginning to repeat now as we go further back. Profane and sacred. Times past are frequently called in celebrations and religious festivals. So we can see that there's a repetition in questions here. Here we have the other religions, as I call them, right? And of course, you hear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different religions. You'll be asked to talk about a maximum of 2, probably 1. Okay, and the community of believers, again, the questions are being repeated here. And last one, 2007 and 2006. 2006 was, 2005 was the first year of the course. Visions of salvation, liberation, Christianity, Judaism, and comparative visions with the other 3. And of course, we have the primary religions at the top there, and Buddhism and Christianity. Primary religion, one of the world religions, that's a horrible question. And interfaith dialogue, but you could avoid it. And lastly, right back in 2005, when the course began, They asked an 80-mark question and they've never done so since. Okay. All religious mark key moments in the life of believers. Compare how one key moment, such as life, as birth, death, or entry into adulthood, is marked by two of the religions named above. If you get the 80-mark question, you're expected to write about 3 pages on that. And if we take our 10-point paragraph, our 10-line paragraph, if we're writing 4 paragraphs for a page and a half, then you'd write 8 paragraphs for 3 pages. That's how you'd structure that. So it's the same way, you know, you're just dividing things up. If they throw in these 80-mark questions, sometimes they throw this in, you know, to surprise people in the exam. There was a predictability study done on the Leaving Cert in 2013, and they said that Leaving Cert was too predictable in terms of answers and questions. So sometimes they like to surprise you. Students don't like these sorts of surprises, okay? But you have to be adaptable in the exam, and it's created there quite on purpose to throw you. And of course, the good student will just go, oh yeah, 80 marks, blah, 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 and off they'll go. And the student who's not prepared or who's a bit panicky might freak out at this exam, look at it, start saying, I can't do this, get themselves into all crisis and leave or something like that, the worst case scenario. That's an exaggeration, but it can happen, all right? Be careful of that in all your exams, okay? Some surprise. And it's usually quite easy to overcome if you address it. Of course, by the time you do your religion exam, you're going to be so good at doing exams that nobody's going to be able to catch you out because it's right at the end of the exam cycle, isn't it? Okay, that's the questions. And those questions are what you should continue to practice. 1 a week, timed, preferably at this stage, just open the book, pick a year, and do the question. Now, if your marks take a hit on that because you don't know, you haven't done the topic very well, then so be it. But that's great preparation for the exam.